our new principal for the welcome. Mr. Turner, stand up so everybody sees who you are. He's been very wonderful for our school. He's a fundraising machine, and we have raised more money than we've ever raised in a single year. I don't know. I don't get to see the finances, but I know he's been doing a lot of that, and I've been hearing the totals coming in, and I'm amazed. And I want to thank him very much for his help in all of this.
And we will get the xylophone very shortly.
Excellent. And I also want to thank you for his leadership. He's a gung-ho fella, and he tells everybody about what's going on, and is always there when things need to happen. So we really appreciate his being with us this year. Yes, sir. In advance, I'd like to also thank our school board chairman, John Perlich, for doing our closing prayer eventually. John is a wonderful man. He's a neighbor of mine, and I have benefited from him being my neighbor. A few years ago, there was a tornado that blew through our neighborhood, and I just happened to be in the lobby of the church one morning when him and his wife were chatting with me a little bit, and they mentioned about their skylight being fixed. I'm like, what happened to your skylight? Oh, remember that tornado that came through Park Ridge and came through our neighborhood too? Nothing touched down, but there was hail flying through the air that hit our roof and completely damaged our skylight and window kind of thing, you know, on the top of the roof, and says, I think you got a new roof, right? And all that, and I'm like, wait a minute. I live just around the corner from you. I wonder what the status of my house is. And I had his, what do you ever call it, the guy in charge of doing all of this, the contractor, I believe, come over and look at my house. Sure enough, we had damage all over our roof. I can't tell. You know, but he had an eye for it. He says, yeah, I see, look here. We climbed up there and looked at all the spots. Make a long story boring. We got a new roof and siding. Thank you, John. I would never have known had I not talked to him. But at any rate, John has been a great friend all the years I've been here, and a great support of our music, church and school-wise. And he's also more than just the school board chairman. He is a handyman. He comes around here whenever there's any help that needs to be done, replacing some of the tiles that pop off the floor, to changing light bulbs, to you name it. He's the man to call. He knows where everything is and what it takes to fix it. We want to thank you for that, gentlemen. And I would also like to thank our MC. He's been doing a great job, Courvoisier. Where did he go? Oh, there he is. Thank you very much for being our MC tonight. In 1997, Courvoisier was a fourth grader here at North Shore. Junior Academy, we were called then. This was a school year he took drum lessons and became a percussion player in the band. His fellow drummers were his sister, Alyssa, as he mentioned, Gabriel Candia, any of you alumni might recognize some of these names, along with the section leader of the time, Derek Pugh. Any of you know Derek? Not many of you, but you would know his handiwork if you looked at our Pathfinder bus. All those little emblems, some of them got damaged through some mischievous people, and tore some of the letters and the stars off, but he was the one that donated that, and he made them and put them up on the bus. That was Derek. He was our drummer, lead one in that year, 1997. And by the fall of '99, 2 years later, he became the section leader, Courvoisier did, over his fellow drummers at that time, Willie Ivancu and Samantha Sanchez. Remember them? Our choir director also played in the band on the keyboard things like the bells and such. Her name was Mrs. Coelho. My daughter Carly remembers her first year in jazz band. She played some percussion, all the shaker things. And she says, I asked her, I said, what do you remember about Cavassier?
Oh,
Well, the one thing that pops into my head is having to turn pages for him when we did the medley, the Tarzan medley. You'll be in my heart and Son of Man. So that was her memory. And Mr. Hislop held the reins as leader of the percussion through the spring concert in 2003. He was in charge of, at that time, Danielle Larson and Gotti Solis. That concert was special in my memory. In 2003, it was my 20th spring band concert. And for my MC, I had Dr. William Chunistuddy, who came from La Sierra University. He was my Academy band director at that, back whatever years ago. And he had the greatest effect on my life path to becoming a band director. That's why I asked him to come. We had 45 members in the band that year. And that's not the most we've ever had, but that was quite a number. And we had enough students who also had the abilities necessary, musicianship and so forth, to perform the 1812 Overture. Do you remember that? And that was the first time we ever played it. That's a monster of a piece. If any of you ever go down to Grant Park and stand in front of the Grant Park's orchestra stage on the 4th of July, you'll hear the 1812 Overture. And in that song, it was scored to have cannons shot at certain strategic points in the music. And we had floor toms, bass drums, and big garbage cans laid on their sides for people to whack and give us those gunshots. And we had them surrounding the whole gym. And man, when I gave that signal, boom, this whole gym shook at those cannon shots. Now, Cavassier, he's been up here all evening long. I've been listening to him, and I appreciate so much. I mean, I'm almost embarrassed, not really, but I feel very humbled at all the things you admire me for, and I really appreciate all the compliments you've given me. But he's never complimented himself. He always tends to kind of like, yeah, well, I didn't get in time with the triangle, and I didn't do this, and right, and so forth. Hey, listen, folks. He was a great drummer. And when he was with us, don't let him sell himself short. As a matter of fact, he's more than just a great drummer. He's a great leader. He is the key person, I believe, who has made our award-winning Pathfinder Drum Corps what it is. I came in and helped show the kids how to hold the sticks and stuff like that, and I wrote a few tunes for them, but he's the one that saw them every rehearsal and led them through and got them organized and put together. They performed for several parades downtown on Columbus Day and gone to our worldwide Pathfinder Camporees and Oshkosh and won first place. I mean, he does a great job for them. Please give him a warm applause. All right, I would like to see who is here who has played in our band before. Who are my alumni band members that have shown up tonight? Just whether you have your instrument or not, just stand. I want to see who you are. I see 1, 2, 3. Hey.